was part of the 66 RTT. I believe I entered, I think it was July 8th of 1985. I had been a Sharon police officer for approximately 3 years prior to that, so I had some police experience, kind of knew what was going to happen. I graduated, I believe, December 6th of 1985, and was assigned for break-in at SP Concord at the time. It was part of Troop A when I came on. I was there through break-in for approximately 3 months, and after break-in, I was transferred down to SP Foxborough, which at the time was called K4, I believe. It was still part of Troop A, and I believe when I was up at Concord, actually it was K3. Believe it or not, they were still they were using the K for the abbreviation on the radio. I was at Foxborough probably through the August of 1986, when I was transferred up to SP Framingham, which was K5 at the time, eventually becoming A5. And I stayed there, I think, probably about a year, maybe a year and a half or so. And then I was got on the truck team. And I did 4 years with the truck team. Left the truck team, went back to Foxborough, SP Foxborough, where I stayed there for approximately a year. Around 1980, actually in 85, the academy, they gave us basic accident investigation and then advanced accident investigation. And when I ended up going to Framingham, or Foxborough rather, at some point, I went through the accident reconstruction course. So I became a certified accident reconstructionist. And I had been done that part-time till I got on the truck team. I let that go when I was on the truck team. I wasn't really doing it. And then when I came off the truck team, I went down to Foxborough. And while I was at Foxborough, I got recertified again in reconstruction, and we were doing a part-time unit. We would do like a bid cycle. I would be on for 2 months, the 58-day bid cycle. Then I would go back to Foxborough. When I was doing the recon, I was assigned to troop headquarters up in Framingham. And at some point right around the merger or just after the merger, they started a full-time accident reconstruction team that was assigned out of GHQ. And I put in for that, was accepted to that, and did that for probably almost the next 10 years of my career. Left accident reconstruction probably around 2000, 2001, and went to work for Lieutenant Bill Coulter. I worked for him. He was running the traffic programs, which was basically traffic safety, and that worked out real well because I had 10 years of accident reconstruction. I was an expert on that. I knew a lot about seatbelt safety and all that stuff. So myself and Ross Panakopoulos went to work for Billy Coulter doing traffic, and we went around the state training, going to high schools, trying to get our seatbelt usage up. At the time, I think we were one of the worst in the nation as far as our usage goes. By the time I left after 3 years, we weren't the best, but we were right up there. We had a very high seatbelt usage. So with the good work of Billy Coulter, Ross Panakopoulos, myself, we did a lot of training. We got the seatbelts usage up, so that was good. And then at that point, I left after about 3 years. Probably, I can't remember exact time, but I went back to the truck team. And I did the last 18 years of my career on the truck team. And I finished up, I retired September of 2022 on the truck team.
There were a couple cases that were really hard. It was and sad. The first one that really hits I remember is I had been on the unit, the full-time unit, not too long, and there was a bad crash in Dedham that happened in the middle of the night, and a person that had been, I want to say, messed up on either alcohol or drugs, I can't quite remember, hit another car head on, and that person that died in the other car was actually a high school classmate of mine that I found out afterwards. That was a big. It was a very advanced crash as far as the tools that I used to reconstruct it. So that was a big case. There was another bad crash on 95 northbound in North Attleboro where a tractor trailer struck multiple cars, and the person in the tractor trailer along with a co-driver died, as well as a car that was the first car that was made contact by the tractor trailer. There was a gentleman, and I believe his girlfriend, along with the gentleman's niece or the girlfriend's niece, were in the car, and they died instantly. And that was a pretty hard, and that was a big crash because there were, like I said, there must have been 8 or 9 or 10 vehicles involved, 5 fatalities. Yeah, that was a difficult incident. They robbed the Super 8. Got on the road, 95 northbound. I was fairly new at the time. I was still, I think, down at Foxborough. I hadn't left at Foxborough yet. So this was probably 86, 87. And Marty Stevens spotted the car, and I was the closest trooper. I raced up. That car got on 138 and headed in towards Boston, towards Mattapan. I think they found out that they realized that Marty was following them. And they bailed out of the car just after the Blue Hills with shotguns coming out. And Marty chased him into the woods. I was right behind Marty. I chased him into the woods, and we searched all night for him. We never found him, but it was a pretty scary experience. That was a good thing. And there were a lot of others that I can't name. But like I said, I think those 2 crashes, and I had a lot of other crashes in accident recon that were pretty hard, that were very challenging. I always found it hard if I had to go to trial. Testifying, it was very stressful, very nerve-wracking. But we always did pretty well. Always had good prosecutors and good other people that helped out. So I was good friends with Doug Whittleton, a sergeant. We worked together. I wasn't assigned to Foxborough, but for most of my career, I hung out at Foxborough. I always had an office there, whether I was on the accident recon and collision analysis or I was on the truck team. And I had become pretty good friends with Doug Whittleton. He was a sergeant. He was the day sergeant. I was always down there. I think at the time I had come back to the truck team, so I was on the truck team. So we always saw each other, hung out. And when he was struck and killed on 95 doing that detail, that hit real hard. That really, that was someone that I had been to a lot of funerals. I had known Mark Charbonnier. That was very sad when he was shot and killed. But Dougie, I was real close with. I was friendly with, and when he passed away, that hit hard. That was real sad.
There's another good story, Steve, that I remember now. I was working again on the truck team. There had been a bulletin earlier in the morning. A Boston sewer and water truck had been stolen, and it was a dump truck. It was a 6-wheel, 2-axle, full-size dump truck. It was a good-sized dump truck, and it had been stolen by someone. They had reports of it leaving the city, getting on the pike, heading westbound, and then they gave out that the thing was in the Milford area. They had tracked it using what's the thing they use for the tracking?
GPS?
GPS, yeah. So, lo and behold, I'm up 495 in Franklin, and I look over, and there's the dump truck, the white dump truck driving southbound on 495. So I turn around, I flip through the median, I start chasing it, and I call in. They give me a code 1. I think I was in... I forgot what cruise. I think I was in 2150, 2135 Tango. So I had to give up my 6s, and I'm calling in, and we're heading southbound. And then they asked me to pull up beside the truck and see if you can identify who's in there and what's going on. So I pull up the truck, and sure enough, there's this guy in there. He's homeless. He's a homeless person, turns out. He's smoking a cigarette. He's just driving in the middle lane, doing about 55 miles an hour. And I go back and I get on the radio and says, yeah, it looks like there's a single white male driving the truck, and he's smoking a cigarette. And I think at the time it was Mayor Menino. He says, Mayor Menino, it wasn't Menino, it was Mayor Walsh. Mayor Walsh wouldn't be happy about him, the no smoking policy, and everyone starts cracking up. So by the time we get down into the Foxborough area, there's literally 10, 15 cruisers, and it looked like something. And we got on 95 South, and we're heading south. And my wife is driving northbound, and she sees all this commotion going on. She hears about it on the radio. It looked like something out of what's that movie, not Vanishing Point, but that one, the trucking movie where they're smoking the band. That's like there's 15 or 20 cruisers behind you, and they're all behind us. Behind me, like I said, the guy wasn't doing anything crazy as far as driving. He was just doing 55 miles an hour. And then we get down into Rhode Island, and they called. They said, break off the chase. And the truck ended up going all the way down Rhode Island. Rhode Island chased him all the way back into Massachusetts, down by 195 and down in Seekonk. And then the D-Troop guys were able to do more aggressive stopping techniques, and they were able to finally stop the guy and arrest the guy.